You are listening to High Heels and High Chairs, voted the best online resource for busy moms who wish to stay strong, sexy, and centered in a world of spit up and sippy cups. Whether you're a new mom, a grandmom, a future mom, or somewhere in between, you'll love these priceless tips, tricks, and tools you will learn today. Here is your host, top female fat loss and hormone specialist, Dr. Michelle Sands.
Hi, and welcome back to High Heels and High Chairs, where we're talking about staying strong, sexy, and centered in a world of spit up and sippy cups. I'm your host, Dr. Michelle Sands, and today I'm super excited to have a wonderful woman here with us. Her energy is just amazing, and she has like a ton of letters after her name. So she is a registered dietitian, a holistic health coach, a functional diagnostic nutrition specialist, and she's the CEO of her own company called Lifestyle Fitness Inc. She's the founder of Silber.com, and she's a weight loss and fitness and total wellness expert. And she's been featured all around the internet and on TV, Dr. Oz, Huffington Post, in your magazine. So you may have heard of her already. But what I love about Debi is she really gets into the whole body-mind connection. She talks about your psychology and your health and how they relate. And she also, it's pretty amazing, she has her own line of nutrition bars and shakes called Mojo Fuel, because she talks about getting your mojo back. So, Debi, I am so excited to have you here. Thank you so much for coming.
I'm so excited to be here. Looking forward to our chat.
Awesome. So, Debi, you have a lot of stuff on your resume there. You have done a lot of things, and you're a mom as well. So I just want to hear a little bit about your story and your background so the listeners can get to know you a little bit better.
Sure. Well, I've also been around a while. So it kind of started, I was in health forever, and I was a dietitian and master's in nutrition, personal trainer, and this was back in 2007, and I had a husband and a home and 4 kids and 4 dogs. We have 6 now. I'm not sure how that happened. And this full-time business that was doing beautifully, but I also had these horrible relationships, an insane amount of stress, and I was trying to be everything to everyone all the time. And I know every mom listening is shaking their head like, oh my gosh, that's me, that's what I do. Well, that's what, I had a bad case of Supermom, Wonder Woman, I could do it all. And I started getting sick, but I didn't have time to get sick, so I blew it off, and sickness turned into illnesses. And again, it was slowing me down, but I just didn't have the time. I had kids to raise, a business to run, I had things to do. And conditions started showing up. And again, slowing me down, an annoyance, but I just forged ahead, and eventually disease. And your body will speak louder and louder until you pay attention. And that got my attention. Things actually got so bad that I had to give up my entire business with clients that I loved because I couldn't get out of bed. I could barely raise my kids. I was depressed. I was exhausted. And here I was, this health expert, and I was anything but healthy. So I had that light bulb moment where I said, wow, you know what? I am eating well. I couldn't exercise anymore, but I was up until then. This has to have something to do with how I'm living, with this level of stress and these kind of relationships and this emotional outlook of lack and scarcity, all of it. So I had surgery, and while I healed, I studied to become a whole health coach, a health expert trained to teach how your lifestyle creates either health and wellness or illness and disease. And while I was going through that, I learned that, in fact, on some level, I created these illnesses with this ridiculous amount of stress. So I did an experiment. I had nothing to lose. I lost it all. And they said, well, what would happen if I changed those things, those other areas, the stress, the relationships, the outlook? I did. And over the next year, I healed. I healed from everything. Got my mojo back, started working again, and my 5-week program was born, and I have just been on a mission to share this with as many people ever since, because we think that it's so much of it just has to do with eating and exercise. That's only a piece of it. The other areas can take you down, and I was living proof.
That's so funny because, I had a similar story where, it was really, I don't know if it would stress me out more in my lifestyle or the fact that I was supposed to be this health and fitness expert effort, and here I was, like you said, like anything but healthy. The thing is, like, we look at what we're eating, we look at are we working out, and those things are in place, and so many people, we just stop there. And as moms, like, it's just in our DNA to try to do everything for everybody. So how did you actually recognize, like, what actually made that light bulb turn on and made you really look at your lifestyle? So I know a lot of moms out there are, kind of on that wheel, whether they have their own business or they're involved in their community, carrying the kids around the soccer and dance and, making dinner and just, keeping up with your own responsibilities at home and in your community. It can be, hard to get off that wheel. So
absolutely.
I just would like to know, like, what you would either how you did it, and then what you recommend for other women who are on that hamster wheel.
Sure, and here's the problem I see with moms, and certainly this was my case too. We're so capable. And because we're so capable, we do it all until we can't. I mean, how familiar is this? Oh, I got it. Sure, no problem. By the time I explain it, I can just do it already. And it's like we get this recognition and this validation from not sleeping. How often you'll hear a conversation, oh, my gosh, I only slept 3 hours. You're lucky you got 3. I barely, I didn't sleep any. Right? Or just we put ourselves through this absolute exhaustion, and it's like instead of using energy as our natural fuel source, we're working off of sheer will and adrenaline. I mean, we are just so burnt and so done and so depleted, and it's in our nature to take care of everybody else first. That's how we're conditioned. And unfortunately, by the time it's our turn, there's no time, energy, or effort, or anything left to take care of ourselves. So, everything I teach is really around, and it's for that busy person who just wants results, who doesn't have to take a lot of time. But that's why I created the bars. I mean, you just have to unwrap it, I mean, it's amazing.
That's awesome.
And my kids like them too,
It's really hard to find, bars and shakes out there that aren't full of crappy ingredients. So it's nice to have someone who's actually in the field and understands what moms need and making the products, instead of some guy behind his desk, who's never been in a gym or had a child.
What do they know, right? And I designed them. I said, what would be so great for that mom, for that busy professional, and for their kids? This way they don't have to. It's just that much more work if you have one thing for you and something else for your children. So it's easy. And then with the line of shakes, my clients tell me their kids love them. They'll throw in some stuff, like with the vanilla, they'll throw in berries and make it colorful, whatever, and it just simplifies. Yeah. It simplifies, but you're giving yourself, you're nurturing yourself. And as moms, I think, our best intention is to take care of all within our care and reach, whether that's our families, our community, our work. And when we have nothing left, when we're so depleted, what can we possibly offer? And what moms also need to realize is you are your children's greatest role models. Period. And if you're spent, if you're depleted, if you don't like how you look and feel, if you're sitting out on opportunities because, you don't have the confidence that you need, if you're not speaking up, if you're not doing what you need to do because you don't have the energy, you don't have to say a word. Your kids are picking that up, and it is loud and clear. And I see it. Listen, I have 2 girls and 2 boys, and they watch me. They see the good, the bad, the ugly, and I know so much more than what I say. It's what I do that they're really picking.
Yeah, I totally agree, and that's one of the reasons why I put this event together, because I'm a naturopathic doctor, and a lot of my patients are moms, and a lot of them are moms that have kids that are a little bit older, and now their health is starting to decline, not only physically but emotionally as well. Like, they are starting to feel depressed. They're starting to resent the very people that they risked it all for. And you're not able to be present when you're constantly, in that hamster wheel where you're thinking about the 10 other things that you have to be doing, even while you're taking the time to play with your child. Like, you can't even enjoy it. So I'm so glad that you said that, because the kids they pick up on things. They know if you're really present. They know if you're there. They see if you're stressed out. And so, like, what would you recommend for someone listening who's like, that is me. Like, you guys are like talking about me. How would you recommend someone start? So this is a scenario that I see. You're running ragged. You reach for that coffee.
Mm-hmm.
You get the artificial energy, and then then you have sugar later, and then you're all hyped up and you can't even rest, so you have a glass of wine at night. And that that's not the answer at all. But what for the moms who are doing that? How can they make those healthy changes to gradually get to where you are today?
Sure. Well, listen, I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm trying.
No.
But and my kids now, they're 20, 19, 15, and 14. So I get it. There's a lot going on. But I think the first thing is we have this toxic mom guilt. And we're just living and drowning in this guilt. Like if we do anything for our own self-care, we look at it as selfish. Well, I'll tell you, moms, it's self-preservation. The better you are, the better you are for everybody. So lose that guilt. Take care of yourself. You have more to give if you do. One thing that really helped me, I found that, it's that whole idea of work-life balance. We strive for this balance. And I found it really doesn't exist because I was trying. I was like, okay, well, I'll be sort of 50% at work and 50% with my family. And I stunk at everything. I mean, that's really what was going on. And I realized that, and I said, what would happen? We only have 100% at any given point. I'm dedicating 50% to work and 50% with family. What would happen? What would happen if, just a different concept, if I took 100% and dedicated 100% of the space I'm in? So when I'm working, I'm 100%. And then because of that, I'm done. I feel great. I'm 10 times more productive. And then I can be with my family 100% and feel great about that. Like here I am speaking with you. I'm 100% with you. And when we're done, it'll be 100% on something else. I'll tell you, as far as your productivity, it will skyrocket just from that alone. And being present with your family, it will take off because you don't have the guilt because you put in the time at work or you put in the time doing something else. So it's something that came to me one day, and it works. So I just really wanted to share that with your audience.
That's so important because I found that for myself as well. When I had my son, I thought that I was just going to work while he slept, and then he was going to be playing with his toy, and I was going to be on my laptop, and we were going to look at each other and smile at each other and giggle. But it didn't work out that way. I found myself, playing with him, but kind of glancing to the side to answer messages on my cell phone. I never really felt like I was getting anything done or spending quality time with my son. So we made the decision to bring in a nanny. So now I'm working, and I work for a certain amount of hours per day, and she's there with my son. And then when I'm done working, and I'm with him. And you're right, so much more gets done, and you feel so much better about the time you're with your family. So I can't agree more that is essential for people to actually focus on what you're doing, because it's amazing how much less time you'll spend doing it. So that is a great tip. Now, as far as I know that you must have some opinions on, using coffee to wake you up and using, sugar to keep your energy going, and then alcohol at night to kind of calm you down. What did you do that when you were kind of in the stress mode? Were you doing those things, and then did you have to make a switch over?
Yeah, well, I still have my cup of coffee in the morning, and I love it. But I'm doing it for the taste. I love the feeling of it. I have my little morning routine, and it's my time. So I truly treasure that. But I'm not using it now for energy. And you're absolutely right. I mean, when we don't have the energy we need, we just find it in two places: sugar and caffeine, and it's very short-lived. And then there's that high and the crash, and we're on this roller coaster ride of false energy all day long, and we're exhausted. That is so depleting. And then what we do is we'll use sugar, we'll use caffeine, we'll use wine, and what that really is we're just handling symptoms. We're not getting to the
Right.
root cause. So, we're taking things to bring us up, taking things to bring us down, where maybe we just need sleep. We just need rest, the new plan. And when we really nurture ourselves at the roots, what is it that we really need? You don't need that stuff. We're not covering up the symptoms, we're healing at the roots. And when you feel that sense of energy, it's powerful. Here's this visual that may help. Imagine, again, let's use this 100% idea. Let's say 100% of energy. And if for whatever reason you can take 100% of your energy and stick it in a bowl, right? And now imagine you have a bowl, a colander, a sieve, the bowl with the holes in it. That's how moms walk around. We're leaking all of this precious energy. Each hole is from a stressor that we have, eating foods that really don't support us, not exercising in a way that helps us, a mindset that holds us back, toxic relationships, toxins in our food, lack of sleep, all of it. So we're walking around at like a 50% level. So really my job is to do nothing more than teach people how to plug up those holes so you can have that power and that force that we need to do the many things that we do. I think with moms, the only way to get everything done is truly to cut some corners. And unfortunately, the corners we cut are with our own self-care.
Right. So what would you recommend for a mom who now needs to incorporate some self-care into her day and who already feels as though she's at her limit for what she could add into her schedule?
Sure.
What's a couple things that you might recommend for those moms who really do need that self-care, even if it's just a few minutes, doing something to support themselves, but doing it throughout the day, whether it be nutrition, sleep, exercise, whatever it might be. But I know, there's moms out there like, yeah, well, how am I supposed to find the time for that, Daddy? So what kind of tips do you have for them?
Sure. Well, the first thing to do, learn how to say no. We have this case of yes and no confusion. We say yes to all of these things that pull us away from our priorities, which leave us to say no to the things that bring us joy, passion, and purpose. And it's because we're so concerned about saying no to that person. What will they feel about us? What will they think? How will they, respond or react? I'm not saying it's not going to be an uncomfortable minute when you say no, but what you've secured is so much more important. So number one, learn how to say no. There are things that you're saying yes to that it really would benefit you to say no to. So, and that would free you up, and so that's the first thing. Simplify. Here's the thing too. We have this idea of perfection. And we want to come across a certain way, or, we have it all. We have this, the perfect kids and the perfect partner and the perfect house and whatever. Who cares? I mean, really, who cares? If anybody comes over to my house, I would not recommend they look in my kids' rooms. Just don't do it. It's not going to be clean. You have to let some stuff go and be okay with it. I want to cook healthy meals for my family, but I have a rule: 5 ingredients or less. I can't take the time to do these elaborate things. So how can you simplify? My workout program, I work out 20, 30 minutes. I'm in better shape now. I'm going to be 50 tomorrow. Then I was.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Than I was 4 kids ago in my 20s. So, so what can you do to just get amazing results in a fraction of the time? But most importantly, lose that guilt. You're not being selfish. You're taking care of yourself. And this is what's so amazing about speaking with moms. I just love to turn it around on them and say, imagine your child comes to you and says, I'm so depleted. I'm so exhausted. It's like I feel like a hamster on a wheel. I have so many balls up in the air, too much on my plate. What do you recommend? Well, what would you say? You'd say, stop. Stop doing some of it. It's okay. And if we feel we can't slow down, find out why. Most likely, that's a belief, or that's an emotional issue, or something you've told yourself, like a mindset issue that really needs to be addressed. Because we look at it and say, what's my self-worth going to be if I don't do all this? How, what will I look like? How will I be perceived? All of this. That's a self-worth issue. That's a mindset issue. So all of that needs to be looked at. I mean, I'm in a PhD program now for psychology, so that's what I'm all about now.
Oh, yeah, perfect. I know, like, for myself, like, my dad was always I'd bring home an A, and he'd ask me, did anyone get an A plus? I would run track, and I'd tell him how fast I ran, and he'd say, oh, I need to do it a couple of seconds faster. And so I think that's what kind of drove my perfectionism and need to do all of it and do more and be better. But it took a long time for me to, realize that that's what I was doing and slow down and be okay with not doing some things and doing other things very well. So I think that's huge.
It's hard.
Debbie, those are great tips. I think that, really stopping to think and assess where you're at. And I love the way you turned it around to asking the child. If your child was in that same position, what would you do? Because I always think about that. I always think, would I want my son to be stressed out? Would I want him to be eating crappy food? Would I want him to be, giving himself artificial energy? Would I want him not to sleep? Of course not. So you have to treat yourself how you want your kids to treat themselves later on, because you're right, they are role modeling you. What you say is not as powerful as what you do when it comes to raising children. So I love that analogy. I love that for using that as a tool, for actually learning to take care of yourself. So when you were talking earlier, you briefly mentioned that all these things were what helped you create, or the reason why you created a 5-week program. Can you tell us a little about that program and what people can learn from it?
Sure. And the page is just debisilber.com/workshop, and it starts soon, so everybody may want to just take a look at that. It's really the 5 areas that I find, after seeing thousands of clients over the last 25 years, the areas we struggle with most. And, we start with nutrition, because if you're not feeling well, if you're feeling overwhelmed or overweight or, uncomfortable, if you're in pain, if you're exhausted, so much of that can be cleared up with your eating alone. So we do that first. So you break that sugar addiction. You physically feel so much better, and you're more willing to do some of the other things. And then we move on to fitness, and then we move on to mindset and lifestyle. And it is a lot of information in a short amount of time, but clients love it. There are so many testimonials on that page for someone to look at and see. But it's the way I live every single day. My clients who've lost 100+ pounds, I put them through it. My most successful clients, they all do it. It just works. It's a proven system.
So I know the next question is, what's the time commitment over those 5 weeks? How much time does it take to actually go through the program?
Sure. Give yourself an hour for the call, but best to give yourself time throughout the week too. Now, I have a lot of people who actually prefer the recording. Every class I do it live. I keep the lines open so we interact with each other. If questions come up, I'm right there, so I'm teaching it live.
Oh,
but a lot of people choose just to have the recording so they listen whenever they want. That's fine too. You get both. So if you want. Oh yeah, so if you can be on live, great, because I'm always on early just to answer questions. I keep the lines open so if anything comes up, and then of course, the next morning they're getting the recording. So and you have it for life. So there's a big curriculum binder you get. You follow along. People tell me I have shopping lists, I have restaurant guides, I have journals, all exercise programs. Everything that works is in there. We refine it each time I do it, we change it, and only the stuff that works is in there. Anything that didn't bring amazing success is gone, and it's designed for the person who just wants lasting results with a proven process from someone who's living it, who's doing it every single day.
Awesome. It sounds like a really comprehensive program, and I love that you do what works, and I know it evolves. So sometimes you put things in, it sounds great on paper, but if it doesn't work for people, I love that you take it out, because that's a sign of someone who's really, in touch with her clients and what's working and, what's new and what's happening in the world, because, things do change. I mean, things that used to work 10 years ago may not work now, or may not work for everybody. So I love that, you really customize that, and it sounds like a wonderful program. So definitely everyone go over to debisilber.com/workshop and check it out. I will put the link next to this recording. And then Debbie also has a wonderful free gift for everybody. So Debbie, can you tell us a little bit about the free gift that you're offering?
Sure. Everybody should get this. This is 20 insider secrets to look and feel better ASAP. It's really very popular questions I've been asked. So just an ebook. There's also a lifestyle tracker. Studies find what we track and measure, we improve upon. So that's there. And there's an opportunity to have a private mini session with me. So everybody should have that.
Oh, wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Debbie. It's been so awesome speaking with you and just very insightful. It's sometimes the things that we really need to think about are the things that we overlook so many times. So I love that we really got into really how to slow down, balance, and just be okay with not getting it all done. And you gave some great tips, that people could start with right away. So, saying no is an awesome tip, something that I had to learn. And, a great thing to do is just kind of like look at all your commitments and see which ones you really don't need to be doing, which ones you're not super passionate about. And just call those people up and say, hey, I can't do it. So I love that your tips are very simple, but they're so effective. So, Debbie, thank you again so much for being here. I will definitely be sending everyone over to your website to check out your workshop and your free gift. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful day. And everyone, thank you so much for listening. I hope that you received so much value out of this interview as much as I did. And we'll be back tomorrow with another wonderful interview. So have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that you received a lot of value out of this interview. I know that I did. I want you to open up to the possibility of making this new year the greatest opportunity that you have had so far to improve your life. This is about breaking out of paradigms. It's about learning the art of living. It is about honoring who you are as a woman as you discover who you are as a mother. It is about taking care of your body, mind, and spirit so that you can take better care of your family and be a shining example, a role model for your children so that they can grow up to be healthy, happy, and successful. I promise to continue to bring you educational, empowering, and inspiring content to help you achieve the body that you dream about and the life that you are meant to live. Stay tuned for more value-packed interviews, and be sure to check out all the resources on my website, metabolicmama.com. Until next time, wishing you a happy, healthy, hot day. Take care, mamas.